Hey guys, Art's Backpacking 360 here. So today's video, we're going to do a pack check in preparation for a 4-night solo backpacking trip into Trinity Alps Wilderness. Alright, this is like one of the premier backpacking spots in the state of California. It's roughly 800 square miles. Northern California, it's the southern end of the Klamath Range, and there are gang loads of lakes and rivers and watersheds. A lot of bears and mountain lions and caribou and coyote and fox and lots of wildlife, lots of stuff to take pictures of and get video of, all of which I plan on doing and hopefully put it together into something that'll be really cool. We're also going to do a short video on top of this one covering food prep, and hopefully we can talk a little bit more about the Trinity Alps and the trip we'll be taking. So in the meantime, pack check. On a traditional pack check, generally what you're doing is you're taking all of your gear and laying it all out, going through it, checking your buckles, making sure you don't have any broken buckles, make sure that there's no stitching that's come undone. You go through and make sure you got fresh batteries for your headlamp, check, make sure your fuel is ready, that your stove works, and just kind of going through everything and finalizing what you need that's customized for that particular trip. Because obviously, depending on where you go and the time of the year that you go, your gear is going to change a little bit, whether you're taking a heavier bag or a lighter bag, what have you, okay? With that being said, I think we should probably get started. And bear in mind, my videos are still directed primarily at entry-level backpackers, but more seasoned backpackers may look at this and say, hey, let's just check it out. There's nothing else going on. Maybe we can pick up a tip or two. You can never stop learning, okay? Every time I go out, I almost always see something from the outrageously ridiculous to something that's really cool that you can pick up and say, hey, I like that, I'm going to use it, okay? I don't think I reinvented the wheel here or anything, but who knows, somebody might see something that they like. There's also going to be people that have absolutely no intention of ever backpacking. They're the person that's sitting on the couch with a beer in their hand, and their mindset is, you think that I'm going to load 30 pounds on my back and walk for 4 days out in the middle of nowhere and sleep on the ground where there's bears? Oh, hell no, you know? But they're like, I'll sit on the couch with a cold beer in my hand and I will gladly watch it. Well, more power to you, brother. Have a beer, and hopefully this will be cool and you'll enjoy it. So let's get started. The backpack is a, gosh, what is it? It is an Osprey Aether 70. It weighs about 4.5 pounds by itself. It comes with a customizable hip belt that they can actually heat it up, and you put it on your hips and tighten it down, and it molds specifically to your hip configuration, okay? It's a nice backpack. There's some that are heavier, there's some that are lighter. You can get a Gregory Baltero, I think, for runs around 6 pounds roughly. They have Go-Lite and some of the other ultralight companies out there make them all the way down around 2 pounds, give or take change. So this is middle of the road. It's got a lot of support. This pack, as it sits right now, weighs, I think, about 23 pounds, okay? I can actually drop about 4 pounds off of there if I decide to do so by getting rid of a couple of things. Whether or not I do, I don't know. I always make last-minute decisions. So let's get started and kind of go through it here. We're going to do this real quick, just show you what I put in here, and we can talk more about individual items when we're out on the trail and using them, so you can get a better idea. Okay, I carry a washcloth. That's my only washcloth. That's my washcloth, my towel, my face wiper, pretty much everything. Okay, and as I take the stuff off, I'm just going to toss it on my prep table behind me. Camp shoes. These are super lightweight. They don't weigh any more than a couple of ounces. They're a lot lighter than a lot of the sandals that people put on. I see on the back of their backpacks, they carry Keens and such, which are great sandals, but they're kind of heavy. These things probably only weigh, they can't be any more than 3 ounces, and I think they're called, I keep wanting to call them Godzillas. Alright, they're called Komodos, okay? Big lizard, basically. I think I got these at Big 5 for 15 bucks, and I've been using them now for, I don't backpack as much as some, but they last quite a while. And you know what, if you wear them out, go spend 15 bucks. They're super lightweight, they've got no material in them. They've got a little stretchy type lacing on them. They're comfortable with a pair of shorty socks. I love them, okay? One thing that should be noted, you won't see in my backpack a whole bunch of shiny brand new gear, okay? If you watch a video where you're looking at somebody that's showing you a bunch of their backpacking gear and it's all shiny, brand new and clean, I would question whether or not they've ever used it before and how much they know about it. All of my gear is been through the tumbler, okay? I know what it'll do. I've tested it, I've used it, and I replace it when necessary. Also, I don't spend a lot of money on expensive gear that I wear, okay? I won't spend $80 or $100 on a windbreaker or, you know, what have you. My hiking shorts, I basically picked them up at the, I don't remember where I got them, but they were not expensive, okay? My jacket, basic windbreaker, I found it at a thrift store. I've got two more expensive ones that I had purchased way back when, and I don't like them. I still keep coming back to this thing. Just a basic windbreaker. Handkerchief, I wear it around my neck. It keeps the sun and the mosquitoes off me when I'm backpacking, okay? Moving on along. No, this is not a water bottle. Hence the word no. And my wonderful little skull and crossbones on there, that is, we're just going to come out and say it, that's a pee bottle. And you're like thinking, okay, so you're out in the country. This is for in the tent at night when it's raining outside or it's 30 degrees outside and it's cold. And, you know, people are kind of really questioning this right now. A lot of people use these things, okay? If you're a single guy and you sleep in your tent alone, these are fantastic. If you're going out with your girlfriend or your wife, yeah, I don't think I would use this, okay? And girls probably shouldn't laugh. They make something like this that is anatomically correct for women, and I will be including that in an upcoming video on how to take care of business in the woods when it comes to using the restroom and sanitation and so forth and so on. In the meantime, this thing works great. Just make sure you don't get it mixed up with your water bottle. One little note here, guys, if you decide to do this, and you're going to go to the store and you're going to purchase your Gatorade bottle or whatever it is you're going to use and say, yeah, this will work great. Make sure it's big enough. You'd be surprised. It's not hard to fill these things up. 2, take a look at the opening. How can I put this? Make sure that it's big enough, okay? Or in some cases, you might be able to get away with something a little smaller. Okay, TMI. You get the point. If you're going to do it, it works great. Just make sure it works for you, okay? Let's see here. Let's just tear into it here real quick and get going here. They tell you pack heavy stuff close to your back and lower on the pack and the lighter stuff towards the top and yada yada, and then they tell you, but you want to make sure that you include the stuff that you're going to use more often, put up towards the top. Well, they've just created, in my opinion, a mathematical formula that can't be solved, okay? So we all do the best we can, but it never turns out perfect, okay? So like I said, everybody packs their own system and what works for them, okay? So water filter, I keep it up on top, obviously. I use it quite a bit throughout the day. This accompanies the water filter. It's a water bucket, and it works great. If I'm at a lake where the deeper, cleaner water is out a couple, 3 or 4 feet, I can basically throw this out there, scoop up what I need. I can also use it on the side of a mountain where there's snow melt. All right, if there's only a little bit of water coming off there, you can't get the pickup from your water filter into the water. So I can basically put this against the side of the mountain, let the water trickle into there, and as it gets filled up, I can take it, carry it over to wherever I'm sitting, and sit down and filter it. I also have the option of looking inside and seeing what kind of swimmies are in there. Okay, you call them what you want, I call them swimmies. And it helps me to determine if there's too many arms and legs and antennas and so forth and so on in my water bucket swimming around. I kind of give myself a second thought about whether or not I'm going to go for that afternoon swim in the lake where I just pulled that water out of, okay? This is my little junk bag, and we won't go through it in depth, but basically I use one container and I keep everything in here. My headlamp and my multi-tool and duct tape and my bee sting kit and my compass and everything imaginable all goes into one container, and if I can't fit it in there, then I don't need it. Well, that's not necessarily true, but that's the general idea, okay? And the cool thing is I've tried changing my system, but this container fits perfectly inside my water bucket. It keeps my water bucket from getting crushed, and the water bucket keeps the little blue cube thing there from getting crushed, okay? So that's all that's in there. If you've watched my earlier videos on stoves, we talked about white gas versus canister stoves. Here's my 2 full canisters of fuel, which obviously when I come back I'll have some left over, and I'll end up taking that partial with me on my next trip. Camp soap, we can talk more about that later, but there's a lot of different kinds. You can get the rinseless soap, you can get Dr. Bronner's, you can get the biodegradable camp soap. Dr. Bronner's is probably the best. I like it. I even use it at home. I love that, what is it, the peppermint one I think it is. I love the smell of that stuff. It's great. They should make a commercial or something on it. So, okay, moving on along here. Food, food, food. Okay? Not everybody does this. I do. I got this for the John Muir. It is a Kevlar and aluminum. I think it's a barricade is what they call it. It's the most expensive, unfortunately, but the lightest food container that they make. And I can fit about 7 days worth of food into that, and I forget what it weighs. You can look it up online. It's 2 pounds or something like that. Kind of heavy, but you know what? Bears cannot get in this. Marmots can't get in this. Mice can't get in it. Rats can't get it. Ants can't get in it. Rain can't get in it. The only thing that can get in it is me, and that's the way I like it. Okay? It also, this with my little Z-Rest pad here sitting on top, no matter where I'm at, I have a ergonomically correct seat to sit on. So, and that I really like, because for my bony butt, I need something. Okay? I dress in layers. Windbreaker back there. A pullover fleece sweater. Okay, real basic and simple. Fleece pants, in which I went through and modified the pants. I took the pockets out, I took the heavy elastic waistband out with the drawstring and all the extra garbage, and put in just a simple elastic waist. Took a couple of ounces off the weight of the fleece pants, and those work great. So there's a couple of more layers. All right. More clothing. Okay. Clothing bag, basically. We have swim trunks, in case I decide to go for the swim where there's none of those, you know, 9-legged little critters swimming around. Down vest, which is another layering item. I actually have one of the more expensive down jackets, lightweight down jackets, and spent more money on that than I think that thing was like $6 at a thrift store. I like it better than the expensive one that I bought at the outfitter. Okay, beanie cap. I use this 90% of the time when I'm in my tent sleeping. I pull it down over my head. Keeps my bald head warm. It also drowns out if you're near a river or it's windy and your tent's flapping around, whatever. It keeps the sound out a little bit. It also, on a full moon, it keeps the moonlight out of your eyes, because I can pull it down over my eyeballs, and just kind of drowns everything out. It also works real good to keep your head warm if it's cold outside. Okay. Wind pants. Okay. I've got 2 other more expensive pairs of wind pants. I bought these at a discount grocery store when I was in Lake Tahoe for $7. Okay, and I like them better than the other ones. They fit better. They're lightweight. They're not waterproof. They're just windproof. Waterproof pants tend to make you sweat, and they're heavy and yuckadoo. Spare socks. I only carry 2 pairs of socks. I keep one on my feet and the other one in my pack, and at the end of every day, the dirty ones come off, they get washed, they get hung out to dry. The next day while I'm hiking, they hang on my backpack somewhere and they dry out, so at the end of the day, those are washed and dried, ready to go back on my feet, and you just keep rotating them. I can go for weeks with 2 pairs of socks. With that being said, I know I said that I don't spend money on expensive gear, but I will break down and spend the money on good socks, good boots, a good pack, a good bag, the important stuff, okay? Fingerless gloves, I use them basically so if I'm in a lot of mosquito area, I only have to put a little bit of repellent on just my fingertips, and keeps the mosquitoes off of me. It's made out of, these are actually made out of bamboo fiber. Don't ask me how I ended up with that, but I thought they were cool, so I bought them, and they're really neat. I like them. So, mosquito net, I hardly ever need it, but when I do, trust me, yeah, you need it. They don't weigh hardly nothing. Throw it in your pack and hang on to it, because depending on when and where you're at, you'll need it. All right? full roll of toilet paper, along with a big pack of handy wipes. And I never used to carry handy wipes, and some years back I met a guy on the trail that, I don't know, we got to talking, and don't ask me how we ended up on the subject, but he'd mentioned his handy wipes, and he referred to them as the finisher, okay? I'll kind of let you figure that one out. Yeah, it's just really nice to stay extra clean when you're on the trail and you don't have access to your normal daily sanitation practices, okay? Plus you can use it also for your hands and what have you, okay? My pot, inside my pot is everything I need. I have my stove in there, my lighter, my pot grabber, and you'll see all that on the trail. And that whole setup, I found the pot at my local neighborhood grocery store for $4.99, and I found a lid for it at the thrift store for $1.25. And that is lighter than probably any pot you'll find at your local outfitter for a way fraction of the cost. Granted, it's light duty. If I tripped over it or stepped on it by accident, I'd probably crush it, but like everything else, be careful with your gear, okay? What is this? This is a rain poncho that suffices as a rain poncho, obviously, but it's designed to be stretched out. I can set it up as a sun shelter. Okay, so if I'm somewhere above tree line and I want to get out of the sun and I want to take a little afternoon siesta, I can set this up. It's got guy outs on it and I can get out of the sun. You can set it up at an angle as a wind block if you're trying to cook, or if you're just trying to sit someplace and the wind is relentless. I'll set this up as a wind block so I can stay out of the wind. And also, if I need to wear it, if I get caught in a real downpour and I have to continue hiking, I can't stop and you know, get underneath a tree or something, then I got that, all right? Rope, I bring it along, I don't know, just because. Generally speaking, I would use this if I was hanging my food in a bear bag, which I could conceivably do. I'm leaning more towards bringing my bear canister, but great if you're hanging your food. A lot of times, depending on where you're at, you won't find a suitable tree. Above and beyond that, you can stretch it from one tree to the next and use it to hang clothes on and your sleeping bag to hang stuff out. You can even use it depending on where you're at. I'll sometimes use it as kind of a perimeter marker for other backpackers when they come in. They see the rope and they go, oh, that guy's camp spot is taken. Because sometimes they can't always see where your tent is at, and it's just kind of a way to mark your territory a little bit, okay? Sleeping bag. I don't think I'm going to tear the sleeping bag out of here. Basically, you'll see this on the trail. It is a backpacking quilt from Ray Jardine, who wrote a book called The Ray Way. And he's an ultralight backpacker, and he's been all over the United States, and he's a really smart man. And I adopted some of his practices, not all of them. I won't hike in tennis shoes. But to each his own. Like I said, use what you can from everybody out there. I've got two of these. This is the light-duty version because it's summertime right now. I also own the heavy-duty version, which is about a half or 3/4 of a pound bigger than this. You buy the kit, find somebody that knows how to sew really well, and have them stitch this thing up for you. I really like it. Okay, you'll see it when we're out on the trail. They're pretty nifty. And don't make fun of the lime green color, because don't ask me why I got that color, but I did. And no, I don't like it. It's not my color. Even though it is in style right now. Okay, yeah. Thermarest pad, super lightweight. I don't even remember what, I've been through so many of these things over the years. This is the most lightest version they make. It's, I think it's 2 inches thick, and it's got like an aluminum thing on the inside of it, basically, that reflects the heat back up, so it does have a thermal value to it. And I can pretty much lay right on it and drape my quilt over the top of me and stay super, super comfy. Okay, you got to be really careful with them. You can puncture one really easy. If you're hard on your equipment, or you're a big guy that weighs 275 or something, that might not hold up for you. All right. So what do we got? Last but least, touch on water real quick. This is part of the water system, if you will. I use these platypus bags. Okay, they're bomb-proof. I don't use Nalgene. Nalgene to me is too heavy. I don't really care for it. These guys, like I said, they're super lightweight. When they're empty, you can fold it up and put it away. I hang them on a string. I can hook up my line to them, and I can hang them from a tree, and then I just use the line as a little faucet, so if I need to get water to make coffee or dinner or whatever, I've got it. I usually carry one of the big ones also, and I'll fill it up for just unfiltered camp water that I'm going to be boiling, and use that. Platypus, they work great, I like them. And I've yet to get a hole in one, but then again, I take pretty good care of my products, so usually not an issue. Okay, last thing I think we've got here is simple stuff. This is a Z-rest. I cut about, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches off of it because I didn't need something this wide. I use it for a sit pad. I use it for a afternoon, take a nap in the shade pad, and I will also use it getting in and out of my tent. I can fold it over and drop it in front of my tent, so when I drop down on my knees, I got someplace off to put my knees. You can actually stretch it out even more, so when you're crawling in and out of your tent, you're not crawling in and out on the dirt. This thing gets abused pretty badly, and pretty hard to wear them out. I use it for everything, okay? Last but not least, my tent is a Mountain Hardwear Waypoint 1. It's an older model. I guess I've had it now for, oh my gosh, probably 6 or 7 years maybe, something like that. It's a single wall, one man, weighs 2 pounds, 8 ounces I think. And you will again see that when we're out in the Trinity. And I'm hoping to replace it next year with a Gossamer Gear The One, which is a single wall, one man tent that weighs obviously 1 pound. I think that is it. We got everything out of here. We're good to go. And so that was it. That's a pack check, okay? We're going to do one more on food prep, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Trinity Alps and kind of what to expect, and more about that later. I think we're pretty much at our time here. This was a long video. I probably should have divvied it in 2, but I appreciate you watching, and watch for the next video, and we'll see you then. Thank you so much.